Hey, this is Alex of Deadly Apples, and you're listening to the Vulgar Display of Podcast.
We have Alex from Deadly Apples. Alex, how are you, man?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Where are you calling in from?
I'm near Montreal, Canada.
Is that home
So
base for you?
yeah. I'm actually in the countryside, and it's snowing right now. So
Mhm.
yeah, where are you at?
We are near the St. Louis area, in the Midwest.
Oh yeah, we played there a few years ago with Manson and Rob Zombie. Actually, would love
Yeah,
to come back soon.
yeah, absolutely. And you mentioned that tour. We weren't able to catch that one, but sounds like, I mean, you've had some awesome opportunities. You've been on some amazing, awesome tours, that being one of them. You also did some touring with Korn. Deadly Apples, it's an exciting time right now. You guys have a new single out, Volatile, and it features Richard Patrick from Filter and Danny from Nine Inch Nails. Those are also some big names in the industry and in the music world. How did that collaboration happen?
Basically, we spent essentially a year in LA recording the new album, and I had met Danny a couple of years before through Fat Mike of NoFX, who's an old friend, and he was actually working with Danny. Danny was producing his solo record, and kept in touch with Danny, and we needed a guitar player to record the guitars and bass for the album, and Danny came in and did it. And as for Richard, um, I think we were just messaging on Instagram, and just kind of happened like that, and when he found out that, Danny, who he's friends with, was working with us, and also Ben Gross, who mixed the album, he also mixed Filter's early records. So it was kind of natural, and Richard came in, um, tried, some vocals on different songs, and it was a great fit on this one, Volatile. He basically does the harmony vocals. So yeah, that's pretty much how it came about.
And Deadly Apples originated when you were in high school, right? Like this is your high school band that has seen some maybe changes throughout the years, but obviously, I think there's probably some influence of like Nine Inch Nails and Filter. Maybe even going back to those days. Was that sort of a pinch? I mean, I know you have a lot of friends in the industry and are very in tune to the industry, but was that a little bit of a pinch yourself moment getting those guys on this record?
Yeah, for sure. Like I grew up with a lot of that music for sure. And yeah, you know, Nine Inch Nails, obviously, like, you know, huge influence, nothing but respect. And those early Filter records, I remember listening to those when I was in high school. So yeah, there's a lot of surreal moments, including touring with many of those artists. Like I mentioned earlier, Manson, Rob Zombie, Korn, Deftones, all bands that I grew up listening to. So, we're definitely grateful for these opportunities for sure.
Do you feel like industrial metal is making a little bit of a comeback? In the late '90s, maybe even in the mid '90s, it was huge. But to me, like I recently saw a band. You're probably familiar with them, Mike's Dead, who I wasn't familiar with, and was really blown away by them. And it sort of reminded me of maybe like early Ramstein. And do you think it's making a little bit of a comeback in that regard?
I kind of think that a lot of genres from the 90s, are being embraced by the younger generation of kids, um, who are discovering that. And, I kind of feel like what we're doing is sort of a modern version of, that genre, or like a current version of it. And, there's definitely other acts, that have gravitated towards that. Ghostman comes to mind, um, who's done, great records in the past years. Um, but yeah, there's really a resurgence, same thing for, bands like Deftones during the pandemic. Feels like they just exploded to a whole new generation of goth kids. And it's kind of cool to have those younger those younger kids into this music, because that's the only way it can have a future. Um, because obviously the original fan base for that is getting older. Um, but yeah, I think it's cool.
Yeah, I see a little bit of a trickle down effect even in my own life. I have a 14-year-old daughter, and last summer, somebody just gave us Red Hot Chili Peppers tickets, actually to the same venue that you guys were playing at. And so I took her. She wanted to go, and I took her, and she had never heard of them. She's, Taylor Swift 24/7 pretty much. But the other day, actually, she's in the shower, and I can hear the speaker playing Red Hot Chili Peppers, and it was like a proud dad moment, right? Like I'm sort of passing the torch down, and I don't know. It's cool to see a younger generation, appreciate those things, appreciate the '90s and the 2000s, which for me was a very important time in music, and I think one of the most popular decades or most important decades in music. So it is cool to see, and I would say even TikTok has a little bit to do with that. We interviewed Weedus a couple months ago, and their song actually, I think, charted again, Teenage Dirtbag, because of TikTok and because of a younger generation. So it's neat to see music appreciation getting passed down in that way.
Yeah, for sure, definitely.
Tell us about the rest of this record, Distress. I know it's dropping this summer. Do you have a release date on it?
Not the exact date yet, but yeah, it's gonna come out this summer. And in the meantime, we're gonna be releasing songs off of it for um, you know, every 5 to 6 weeks approximately. And music videos as well. I'm not sure when this is coming out, but we're releasing this Wednesday the music video for Volatile.
Hmm.
And we've got more coming. So yeah, you know, pretty excited about it because we've been working on it for so long. And my I wrote all the lyrics. My bandmate Antoine wrote all the music and he produced it. And I really feel like, it's the best work that he's done, and same thing on my end. Um, and yeah, plus the fact that, we got to collaborate with um amazing people. Obviously, we mentioned earlier Danny, Richard, Ben Gross. We also got Tom Baker to master the record. He's mastered pretty much every single Nine Inch Nails records, all the Manson records, and so many more. And we also got to work on pre-production with Michael Beinhorn, who produced legendary albums by Korn, Manson, Ozzy, and so many other people. So um, yeah, I really think people are gonna like it if they're into this kind of music. And the response so far that we've gotten for Volatile has been insane. Like the numbers are really, really good on Spotify. So it's a good start so far.
How does the collaboration between you and Anton, how does that happen? Is it back and forth, sending files back and forth and a collaborative effort in that way? Do you guys get together in person? Do you FaceTime? How does the writing like that occur for you guys?
Well, essentially he writes the music, and I write the lyrics. So he'll send me some ideas and I'll try putting vocals on it. Sometimes he'll have a vocal melody, and I'll just translate it into actual words. Um, so yeah, that's essentially how we do it. And even though he's the drummer, he also plays keyboards and piano. So um, yeah, that's pretty much how we do it. And then when we play live shows, we have a live guitar player that comes on stage with us, and also a live keyboardist slash dancer who gives a pretty sick performance. Um, so that's pretty much how we do it. It's kind of an unusual, probably an unusual way of doing things, but I guess pretty much everything about Deadly Apples is unusual. So yeah.
Are there touring plans to support the album?
Yeah, we're actually waiting right now on some confirmations for tours, but we already have a bunch of festivals lined up. The first one is actually in Peru. It's a huge festival there. We're actually playing with Manson and Avenged Sevenfold, and we've been to Peru twice so far, and the crowds there are just insane. So we're looking forward to going back there. We also have a big festival confirmed in May in the US, but it hasn't been announced yet. But hopefully it's going to be announced soon. Um, but yeah, that's our plan to start playing more and more shows in the coming months and years.
And I know you used to do some promoting and some festival, hosting and booking yourself. Is that something you're still a part of? Is that something you still do?
I mean, I do it in some ways, but I'm mostly focused on the band now and also other projects. Um, but yeah, that definitely gave me a different outlook on things, and how the music business works, how the especially obviously the live music industry, um, which is definitely useful for a band.
Would you say, I mean, it's pretty obvious, but it's even more useful now, right? Where it's not album sales anymore. You have to go out and play the songs to sort of make any kind of money and sell the merch too. So, with having a background in business in that way, it sounds like it's helping you on the band side of things.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. My 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 experience, or my skill essentially in anything I undertake, is to find ways to make things happen. And you know, being in the festival world, I was definitely able to develop that skill, and now it's clearly useful for everything that has to do with the band.
You mentioned being the main lyricist for the songs on this record, and from what I can tell, it's maybe pretty personal on your end. What are some of the themes that you've sort of addressed in some of the lyrics on the record?
It's a really dark record. It it deals with loss, with obviously distress, which is the title of the album. Um, and there's a lot of personal stuff, but also, mixed in with, I guess, social commentary on
Mm.
the times we live in and the extremes of, both sides. Um, and usually I try to refrain from, explaining, oh, these lyrics are specifically about this or that, because I kind of feel like, in a sense, it takes away from each person's own interpretation to basically make those words their own, with whatever they're going through in their life. But yeah, that's it. Essentially, the themes on the album in terms of lyrics.
And this might be a dumb question, but is making music therapeutic for you? And even especially like you guys are known for your high energy live performances. Is that sort of some of that release? Do you feel, exhausted but also better after a show? Are you amped up or how does that kind of play into your emotional state?
Well, being on stage is definitely like um therapy, for and you know, how can I say it? Like a lot of bands, they go on stage, they play the songs, they get off stage. Like to me, it feels almost like, I become in a different state, and it's like an exorcism. And I often injure myself on stage, sometimes injure people in the crowd. It's just chaos on stage, and kind of fits with the vibe. And I really feel like that's something that's been missing. A lot of people tell us that, we're essentially bringing back the danger, the excitement, the un unpredictability on stage, because everything is like so safe now, so, run of the mill in a sense. And, we don't want to offend anyone or shock anyone, and we're kind of like going in the other direction. And for me personally, as you can see, I'm, a pretty calm and quiet person in everyday life, but on stage, it's like it just there's just this other side of me that I keep inside that just comes out on stage. So um yeah, it's definitely cathartic.
How important is the imagery and the aesthetic, come into play with your message as far as the visuals?
It's definitely important. And you'll see in the music video, which was actually directed by Antoine, my bandmate. Um, I definitely think that it not only it complements the music, the songs, but also um, you know, m it makes it become three-dimensional essentially.
For fans that are just discovering Deadly Apples, what is there a song that you would point them to? Say, hey, start here and then see if you like it and explore, the rest of our catalog.
Well, definitely Volatile, which is the new single. I definitely feel like it's our best work so far. And then all the new tracks. But in terms of older songs, one of I would say our song Further that we did with Monkey from Corn. That's definitely one that people like, and also Self-Inflicted Oppression, which is essentially one of the older songs. Um, and we usually finish our set with that one. And usually I'm in the crowd for the last one. Um, so yeah, I would say start with these ones. But yeah, I'm also looking forward for all the new songs from the album to be released so that people can hear all the new stuff, which is, more representative of where we are right now.
I'm always curious this time where the album is turned into have whoever it needs to be turned into from that time to the release date, what that feels like for an artist. Is it anticipation? You just want to get it out there? Is there a sense of worry, concern, how it's going to be received? Does that matter? So what is there any kind of emotional kind of response that you have from now until the actual album is released?
We've been waiting a long time to release it, and in a sense, sometimes we're like, fuck, we just want to get it out like as soon as possible, because we know that it's solid and people are gonna love it. But at the same time, we have to take a step back and make sure that everything is planned properly to be, you know, as 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 strategic as we can to have, smart release plan that's well thought out, well planned with a good team around us. So um, I honestly feel mostly exhausted because just the planning of it all has been very demanding, but so far the results are there. So I guess things were properly aligned so far. So hopefully it keeps going in that direction.
New single Volatile out on all major platforms. The new video coming soon. Distress will drop sometimes this summer, and then we're going to be looking for those festival announcements and any other kind of touring updates. What's the website, Alex, if you don't mind?
Deadlyapples.com. Otherwise, just Deadly Apples on all social media. And yeah, follow us wherever you are online. Um, and we hope to play in St. Louis again soon. I remember that was actually a great show on that tour.
Yeah, we love our industrial metal here. So yeah, bring it on. We'll love to connect with you when you get into town.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And you know, just we're looking forward to playing all over the US. Um, I think a lot of people discovered us especially on that tour because it was really huge. Like it was essentially an entire summer, all arenas and amphitheaters. Um, so yeah, that was definitely a good one.
Absolutely. Deadly Apples, new single out now, available everywhere, and looking forward to the rest of the record. Thanks so much for joining us today, man.
Thanks to you. Really appreciate it.